What if I told you it was possible to spend your time daydreaming, telling stories, and earning a living using your imagination? Let's take a look at how an INFP, the mediator type, could achieve this through one of the most creative and successful INFPs of all time, j.r.r. Tolkien, author and creator of Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, as well as the inspiration for the upcoming Ring of Power TV series. Now, if you prefer to stay at that boring corporate job and just suppress all that creativity and passion you have, absolutely click on to the next video. Still here? Great. Now let's take a look at why you're so damn awesome and what you can do to use your awesomeness, your gifts, your strengths in your life for the best possible results. The key to succeeding as an INFP, and today I'm going to define success as a combination of happiness, self-actualization, and creative contribution to the world, is to first love and accept yourself. Because as we previously discussed in other videos, you're awesome. And when you use your gifts, you can create a tremendous life. And 3 of these INFP gifts to get us started here. The first is your intense and vivid imagination. The next is your ability to observe the people around you and gain profound insights into human nature and society as a whole. You're then able to take these insights and use your imagination to create something entirely new that the world hasn't experienced before. So Tolkien wrote some awesome fantasy novels. We all know that. But how did he find success when so many others have failed, and what can we learn from him? Well, to answer these questions, we need to travel back in time about 100 years to World War I. Tolkien lost several of his best friends in this war and of course faced major trauma. Despite all this hardship and obstacles, he found a way to put his creativity and his purpose ahead of everything else, actually beginning to write about Middle-earth in the trenches. You should never let anything get in the way of your creativity and your purpose. The rest of this video is going to focus on how you can strip away all the distractions, the excuses, and some of the barriers this world has put up for you, and focus on giving your gifts to the world. Give yourself time. So let's be very honest with each other. As an INFP, you are never going to succeed taking a quantity over quality approach. INFPs don't succeed by pumping out 134 tightly organized projects a year. INFPs succeed when they do big things better than everyone else. It took Tolkien 17 years to finish and publish the Lord of the Rings series. 17 years! But imagine just if you gave yourself 6 months, a year, 2 years to really sink your teeth into something. What do you think you could accomplish then? Don't fall into that trap of feeling rushed, feeling behind, and then trying to get through things at a lower quality than what you really want to do. Remember, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Don't compare, learn. From his 30s, Tolkien, an INFP, was friends with C.S. Lewis, an INTJ, and the author of Narnia. According to Jackson Hole Classical Academy, the two often poked fun at each other's writing. Lewis thought Tolkien's was too long and complicated, and Tolkien thought Lewis's allegory was too simple and was surprised it was so popular. The difference did not prevent them from respecting each other's work and enjoying each other's company. In fact, mutual criticism made each a better writer. We would probably not have either the Lord of the Rings or the Chronicles of Narnia without the encouragement and criticism that Tolkien and Lewis gave each other. What we can learn from their relationship is how incredibly important it is to surround yourself with people who have similar interests, similar pursuits and passions. People that you can learn from, that you can get feedback from and be inspired by. You can learn different things from different friends, never needing to compare yourself to them or feeling like you have to be exactly like them, but taking inspiration and lessons to help you be your best self. He was for long my only audience. Only from him did I ever get the idea that my stuff could be more than a private hobby. But for his interest and unceasing eagerness for more, I should never have brought the Lord of the Rings to a conclusion. It's clear from this that even Tolkien had issues with confidence and self-assurance. So if sometimes you doubt yourself, you don't feel like you're up to something, don't worry, you're not alone. That's literally called being a human being. On us NFP types, it happens to us even more than others. So don't think that doubting yourself or feeling insecure is a sign of your outcome. If anything, if you thought 100% I can accomplish this, I can write the greatest novel on earth, probably a little more delusional. Having a little insecurity about your abilities is a good thing. It pushes you to improve and really do your best work. And if you're ever feeling like you're not good enough, trust me, you're not alone with that kind of feeling. But what you need to do is spend time with the right kind of people who are going to encourage you. Heck, Dreams around the world, we have a community of ENFPs and INFPs who are just bursting with positive energy to encourage each other. So maybe come out to one of our events, join one of our communities. That could be a good place to start if you can't meet people in your own town. Don't wait for the world, take action and create your world. So this one's going to drag on for a bit longer than some of the other bits of advice, but I think the main essence of it can be summarized by Tolkien's own quote. It's the job that's never started as takes the longest to finish. You're the only one in charge of your own life, and it's you who can captain your own ship. When you take action, when you move things forward, good things happen. Life starts to become what you wanted. And if you wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity, it's never going to come. You're going to be in the exact same situation. So one of the things I do in my coaching practice is help people make a big change in their life. So for example, quit a job they don't like and start their own business. And I've noticed a pattern and a bit of a difference between ENFPs and INFPs. ENFPs are a lot more likely to come to me and say, hey, I just quit my job, I'm ready to do this business, can you help me? Where INFPs are a little more likely to say, hey, I'd been at this job for 10 years that I hated and I finally got laid off. And I'm really happy I'm laid off. But I wasn't the one who actually took that action. And what I'd like to do today is encourage you to skip wasting a decade of your life and for you to take the action and move forward on the world you really want. Doing something new is scary. Doing something creative is scary. Doing both at the same time is doubly scary. This seems like the right way to say it. It's normal that you're going to have resistance to taking on something new, whether it's starting your own business, changing careers, even something like moving somewhere new. And of course, writing is notoriously easy to procrastinate. I don't know why this is the case, but it is. When we turn our sights to what we really want in life, the thought of failure and rejection is 100 times greater. And that means resistance shows up, and resistance usually manifests itself in excuses. But our unconscious doesn't usually like the most accurate labels, because if we use accurate labels, our friends could call us out on it, or we could call ourselves on it. So we tend not to say, I'm scared, I'm procrastinating, or I'd just rather die a loser. Instead, our unconscious loves 2 ways to hold us back. Number 1 is distractions. Now you have to be really careful about distracting yourself. I mean, this was true back in Tolkien's time, but it is especially true now. In order to be creative, in order to build up that bit of dopamine that kind of pushes you to get going and put your butt in the seat and make something happen, you need free time to think. And if you fill in all your free time with any number of different activities, then you're not going to have time to think. And then you're not going to actually take action. And then your life will just sort of churn on and on and on and on. And you'll wake up in a few years and realize, like, what am I doing? Is this actually what I was meaning? It's probably not. It's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to pursue your passion and be creative, because what if it doesn't work? I completely get that as a guy who's been doing this very publicly for quite some time. So what I would recommend is creating some space for silence. Something like keeping your mornings internet free, or do something like every Saturday afternoon, turn off all your electronics and just spend time reading and thinking. Because you need to let your unconscious work in order to come up with what you should do, in order to process ideas, in order to figure out creative projects. Like pretty much everything you want to do, you need to give your unconscious time to make it happen. Tolkien himself said the best way to write a great novel is to put it away for a long time and then approach it as a reader, not a writer. But Tolkien wasn't talking about watching Netflix for 45 hours a day and distracting yourself from all things. He was talking about leaving space for creativity to work. Number 2 is excuses. If Tolkien let excuses win, one of the funniest South Park episodes of all time wouldn't make any sense. And being an INFP, you have this wonderful imagination which you can use to create fantasy worlds. Sometimes you create those fantasy worlds for the general public, sometimes for yourself. And the ones you create for yourself, you have to be very careful if they're actually going to serve you. For example, if you find yourself coming up with a lot of excuses for why you can't do this thing that you've always wanted to do. So is that really the case, or is it your unconscious that's popping up and saying, hey, you shouldn't do this now because of the economy, your family situation, time management, blah, 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 all these different things, right? Our unconscious can generate all sorts of excuses using our imagination to keep us from doing things that come off as potentially scary. And that's extra powerful for you as an INFP, so you really have to watch out for that. Tolkien had a share of incredibly valuable excuses to give up. including fighting in and losing the majority of his friends in arguably the worst war in human history. That's a pretty good one if you ask me. Today, Tolkien would have been able to choose from dozens of labels, diagnoses, and excuses. But he didn't. Instead, he channeled his pain into something good, something that brought him joy. So next time you're pondering your calling, instead of waiting for the world to align in your favor, take action and bend the universe to your liking.
I'm going on an adventure!
It doesn't matter when or where or with whom, just whatever you do, please finish. You might recall I'm an ENFP, and us NFP types, we have this start-stop pattern sometimes of starting a project and getting into it and either feeling impatient it's not done yet, or maybe we get to a point where it's just not as fun and our unconscious kind of kicks in and comes up with distractions. We're like, hey, maybe I'll do this new project or this thing instead. And then we end up with all these unfinished projects. And that's not good, because a book that is 99% done, as I can say, as I have one on the back burner that's been 99% done for quite a while now, is useless to you. That extra 1% is what makes all the difference. One book that is 100% done is better than 10 books that are 95% done. But ultimately, you want to make finishing things a priority for yourself and use whatever mental strategies or actual time management strategies you need to make that happen. One of my favorite ways to do this is just do one thing at a time and don't allow yourself to do something new until you finish the last thing. That's worked really well for me in the past. Tolkien himself said, "They say it is the first step that costs the effort. I do not find it so. I am sure I could write unlimited first chapters. I have indeed written many." So don't get discouraged thinking you're the only one in the world who has difficulty focusing and finishing. Even the great Tolkien would probably have gone down the YouTube rabbit hole a couple times a day if he was born in this century. Conclusion. Now remember, the entire point of this video is that you as an INFP possess some amazing gifts, and it is your obligation, you cannot get away from this, to share those gifts with the world. And I hope that using some of the techniques I talked about here, you'll be able to apply yourself, be more effective, and actually share those with the world. Whether or not you're a fan of his work, J.r.r. Tolkien is one of the most prolific writers of our time, and Lord of the Rings is regularly named the greatest novel of the 20th century. So if you're the same personality type as him, you need only imagine what you're capable of. Now let's run a quick summary here at the end. Always remember to give yourself enough time. Tolkien took 17 years to write and publish Lord of the Rings, and he wouldn't have been nearly as successful if he rushed the process. Never compare, learn. Surround yourself with like-minded people you can encourage and receive encouragement back from. Learn from their merits and mistakes, but don't get stuck in the comparison game. Don't wait for the world. Take action to create your world. Don't wait to get fired from your mindless corporate job. Slap your boss in the face and quit on your own accord. And if I may throw in a little self-promotion here, if you do need a little help and encouragement for this one, it is one of the things I do best and have the most results with my clients, so I'm totally happy to help you get over that fear and take that action. And finally, finish things. Always make sure you reach the end of your current journey before you embark on any new adventures. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and the rewards only go to those who finish. So get out there. If not for you, if not for your friends and family, do it for the world. You owe it to us to share your gifts and allow us to enjoy them too. If you found this video helpful, there's 2 others that I'm going to recommend that go deeper on really essential topics to applying what we've talked about here. So I'll have cards and end screens pop up for those videos. Check those out. See you in the comments. See you in the next video. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Publish new videos often for ENFPs and INFPs, helping you become the best version of yourself and create the most awesome life possible for you and those you love. Stop.